When you're making a wooden box, whether it be box joints, dovetails, miter joints, when you make your cut and then test fit, you found out that it was cut backwards, inside out, or upside down. Today, I have come up with a little simple method to keep everything straight. Stick with me and I will show you how I do it. Today, I'm going to show you my procedure on how I can do a box. In this case here, we're going to do box joints and keep the orientation without, it's so easy to cut the wrong side. Now this method I use it for when I'm doing dovetails. I use it for when I'm doing miter joints. If you think about it, if you lay it down there wrong and you cut a miter joint backwards, you either have to redesign your box or start again. I mean, it's that simple. And it's so easy to get out here and the noise and everything get to running and do it backwards. Of course, you can always redesign it, but what if you've got a box and for whatever reason, you need it this size? Well, if you screw one up, you gotta start over. So I'm gonna show you what I've come up with to keep this thing straight. Straight in my mind and straight to where, because I got tired of cutting it the wrong way. It's so easy to do that. But the box joints are kind of simple, but you got to follow the little procedure. I'm not saying mine is the only way to do it. I'm saying mine is what I come up with to keep from making the wrong cut. So when I'm working my wood up, for instance, I've got a knot right here. Of course, that's where the bottoms are going, so that's not a big deal. But yet, it's not showing here, so I want this to go the inside. I have this thing setting here with the outside of the box pointing out. The grain, the color, or whatever the case might be, this is the way I want the end product. That's important for a couple of reasons. One, it makes it gives you the look you're going for. Two is you can go ahead and finish the inside. So I've already planed all this down to where I've got it finished on the inside. So once you put this box together, it's going to be difficult to get inside to do your sanding and all that. It's easier to do it now. So you can go ahead and get it slicked down and get it like you want it. But you got to work the outside at the end anyway, so the inside's what's important. And the way I've come up with this thing, see this joint would be, I would call this A. So I'd mark that A. And this joint right here would be A. So two things happen here. I identified these are the mating pieces, plus this is the top of the box. Top of the box is key. So I just go around the box and I identify the joints. So that's up and that's B and B. And this is, I use that little dry marker. It's easier to come off, but walnut makes it kind of tough to see. But then what I've done here, I've identified each joint, and also it's marked on top of the box. I'll show you when we get our sled in here where that comes into play. So I've got my sled, I got it set, got me a little backer to keep from tearing out. If you want to know how I adjust the sled to get the perfect fit, I'll leave a link to the video, that last week's video. That's where all the comments and all come from, and I thought it warranted, and I needed a box anyway, so this is how I keep them straight, and it is, to me, it's key. It's key to, you cut one wrong, you've ruined the box. So I've got some offcuts. What I'm gonna do, because I want one time to do this, and I usually try to leave it laying, especially if I'm cutting dovetails or something like that, and it helps me. That's the situation. I got it marked. Y'all seen me mark it. But then I lay it like it's a going, and it just seems to help me. So what I want to do we'll use this as our first and our second, but to show you what I'm talking about, let me use this here. This thing needs to be, you need to mark the top. The top is key, and I'm fixing to show you how that is, or why that is. So let me fire this thing up, get my hearing protection on, and I want to, this will be a test run. You always want to save your offcuts for the test run. Get it right around your top. Your top. So I've got my test pieces fixed or cut. Where is the top? There it is. Top there. Top there. If y'all notice, I had a little sliver there. I just made this one a little wider instead of cutting out a little sliver. But that's what I'm hunting right there. So what I want to do now is go ahead and cut the box joints, and we'll work our way around. And if you'll notice, every time I bring this top up, like it would be A, it'd point toward the pin. When I make the cuts through here, I'll flop it round. The top is toward the pin. And then the top comes in here, it'll be toward the pin. So every time the top of box and box joints will be toward the pin. So let's go ahead and cut these boxes. So this is the way I do it. And that's the way to keep them straight. So you'll work the top out, get it smoothed out, all that'll go away. So I'll tell you what we'll do now. Let me show you how I cut the groove. I got a piece of hardboard over there for the bottom. We'll go ahead and finish this thing up if you want to. All right, what I'm going to do here, so there's the top. See, there's another thing where I mark the top. So we're cutting the bottom, so the top will be this way. So what I've got, I don't want it to come all the way through. It'll leave a hole on the ends. So I'd rather stop a little short And that's what this is. In other words, I will set it down right there. Then when I go through, when this end gets to right there, I'll pick up. So now I've got to cut, got a piece of this hardboard. See that groove, I had an 1/8 inch router bit. It's just gonna be just right on the money. But I need to cut that to size. So the way I do it, I'll bring you in here and I'll show you the way I do this thing. Of course, I want probably a 1/16 for slack, wood movement, for the length, because you really don't know where this thing's gonna land. I know where my groove is. So I've got D right here. All right, what I'll do, I'll put my ruler and I'll go all the way till it bottoms out. Now what'll happen here is I'll subtract the 1/16 when I'm done. So I'll mark it. This is a 6-inch rule. So I'll bring this side in then. Turn it around. I've got 2 7/8. No, 2 15/16. So I had 6, 7, 8, and 15/16. That's 8, 15/16. So I'm subtracting a 1/16. So it's 8 7/8. Now let's do the other way. Let's see. B and C right here. Okay, now I'm going to do the other way. So basically, it's the same procedure. Okay, I'll mark 3 inches. It don't matter what you use, it's just so 3 inches bottomed out. That's 1 15/16. So that'd be 3, 4, and 15/16. 4 15/16. Subtract the 16th. 4 7/8. My first cut's gonna be 8 7/8. 8 7/8 by 4 7/8. So my first cut's 8 7/8. Then I'll flap it around there, and then we'll cut a 4 7/8, and we'll dry fit this thing together and see what we got. All right, let's go do a dry fit. What do you say? All right, let's see if we can't do a dry fit and just see what we can come up with. Okay. Here we got us a box. And I think that contrasting wood really looks good. Got a nice bottom in it. So we're going to glue it together, put a little finish on, or well, sand on this and get them, they're sticking out just a little. Sand that down, put a little finish on it, call this and done. Well, that's the way I do it. It helps me keep everything lined up, and so I won't be cutting one backwards and upside down. If you go to cutting them backwards and upside down, what you'll wind up doing, having to remake the part, or it just slows you down. It makes the workflow better to me, because you get in there and the dust collection's running, the saw's running, you got your parts, and it's so easy to get it backwards and upside down and cut it wrong. if you want to ensure a really good fit, you gotta keep up with the orientation of your pieces when it goes through the table saw, or if you hand cut dovetails. It's gotta be right, because so many times I've cut it and it was the outside was in, it was upside down. This one was cut right, this one was cut wrong, and it just wouldn't match up. And it's actually, I've come up with that right there. If you mark the outside and the top and each joint, identify what pieces go together, and get something in your mind that makes sense to you. And if it works, that's what you need to do. I showed you the way I do it. I mark this. Some people go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I never could get my head wrapped around that. But the 2 1s or 2 B's or both A's, that must make sense to me. I normally do A, B, C, and D. And I put the A's together, B's together, and it just to me, it just makes sense. You mark the top. In most cases, like if you're cutting miter joints, you need to mark the outside. Box joints, it's not as critical to do the outside, but you really need to know which is the outside so you can go ahead and finish your pieces before you put the box together. And dovetails, you need to mark which one's pins. What I do, I'll take, say if I'm gonna put pins here, I put pins. That means that's the pins. It also means this is the outside. Mark this tails. That means this is the tails, and this is also the outside. And I also identify my joint. Joint A, B, C, and D. Helps, and I keep it laid there in the orientation that it's going to be in when I'm working on it. And when I'm done, I go right back. And it just, to me, since I've been doing this, I've not miscut a joint. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And I will catch you on the next one. And y'all be safe.